This is part 2 of my conversation with Liam Crotty. For part 1, please click the link in the description. You also mentioned the scoreboard graphics that Fox had. That was something that honestly I wish that Marquee could have done to kind of mimic what happened, like to mimic the scoreboard at Wrigley, just having something similar to that, just having the hand turn, the hand turn blocks with the number of runs, number of outs, and everything like that.
That would be cool. I've always liked the Wrigley scoreboard. I was at the Cubs Sox the series at Wrigley game 2 when Carlos Rodon pitched a really good game. Yeah, to go off kind of off topic, I'm kind of sad this year that the Cubs Sox, it is a rivalry in terms of, you're in the same city, but you're not really a rivalry compared to the Cardinals, the Brewers,
Yeah,
because you're playing those teams 20 times a year.
yeah,
So it's just simple city bragging rights that I don't know. I don't feel like people I don't feel like people worry about that really a ton on either side.
yeah, yeah. It would also be the rivalry would be slightly better if both teams were really competitive at the same time. I mean, you guys, I mean, I should say the Sox are, looked well, obviously they were very good this past season, while the Cubs, they started okay, hit a skid right after that combined no hitter in Los Angeles, and then everyone's gone.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think they were put in a really, really tough bind. Um, I knew they were not going to be able to keep, a whole lot of people.
right?
I knew, yeah, I had a feeling, and I don't know any updates on. I know Chris Bryant, I think will become a free agent again, but I haven't heard any indication he'll come back to Chicago. Same with Rizzo, Baez, etc. So again, I think as much as Cubs fans love those guys, even in the worst of moments, everything runs its course.
Absolutely.
And Sox fans are gonna have to feel that um, at some point down the road. Hopefully, way later than sooner. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez are playing somewhere else. I really think Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu are probably the only two mainstays, at least for quite some time. But it's enjoy it while you last. And
Yeah,
I know for Cubs
absolutely.
fans, it didn't come at a great time. Wasn't even Was it even the All-Star break? No.
The collapse this year, do you mean?
Like when they traded.
No, that
Uh,
came, it was, I was actually after the All-Star break, like 3 quarters of the way in this season, I have to say. It and that's when
Because
I was at the
Rizzo was
deadline.
on Rizzo was on the Yankees roster.
Yeah.
For Okay, and one more thing to go on that rivalry. How much did it hurt to watch those three guys homer in their first at bats?
It's I it was, man, it was terrible to just, it was great to see them, do well on their new teams, but at the same time, it's like that could be us. It's just like, why did they have to, did everybody have to go? I understand that if you like, I understand like you can't keep everyone, but at least keep one person at least, maybe, two, depending on, money and stuff. But I mean, it was cool to see, well, almost everybody doing well on their new teams. It's a shame new how Chris Bryant's season ended up ending now with the Giants, with that last game of the NLDS, that uh very
That
last
was
call.
that was such a bad call.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst I've ever seen. I know Cubs fans we'll say the Pierzynski drop third strike call in the '05 World Series ALCS against the Angels was one of the worst calls, and it's certainly controversial. I don't doubt that, but it's kind of one of those, if the ump didn't call anything, run.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah. And then, with Anthony Rizzo was probably like the worst out of the three big guys to see go. Just honestly, Rizzo was, in my opinion, the modern generation's Mr. Cub almost. Really just happy to be there, happy to be playing ball, and everything that he did for patients at Lurie Children's Hospital, formerly Children's Memorial, for some of you.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree that he's our Mr. Cubs in this generation. His community work, it to see him on TV when his alma mater, unfortunately, I know it's going way off topic and sad, but his alma mater, Parkland High School,
Yeah.
that was really rough to see. I couldn't even imagine going through that. But and I also didn't like the Cubs. I think they knew they were getting traded, but I didn't like how they went out.
Right.
That was, how do you not, at the very least, put Brian Rizzo, nothing really against Baez, but how do you not put them in for at least in that bat?
Yeah, just give them in just one time. If you know ahead of time, this is what we're gonna do. Don't like just keep them on the bench for their last game at Wrigley of all things,
Yeah, and then every leaked video of the phone call Chris Bryant got,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just like, I was like, oh, buddy. The Ricketts, they did them dirty that way. I don't necessarily disagree with the trade. It was going to happen, but I don't like. I just don't like how it went. How it went down.
Yeah, I'm still very upset, despite like what Tom Ricketts has been doing to the team really since 2016. Like they've spent some, but not as much as you think like a major market team would. And then everything that they're doing is like the surrounding neighborhood, which is like, some cases it's like, okay, it's kind of cool, but other times with the stuff they're doing around Wrigleyville is kind of unnecessary. Like that one hotel, it's like next door or like across the street from the ballpark. It's like, it's Wrigleyville. It's not like the Gold Coast or anything like that.
Speaking of Wrigleyville, question:
Sure.
You grew up near Chicago, right?
I grew up on the northwest side of Chicago. I since moved out to the northern suburbs.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew you went to Notre Dame.
Yep.
Wrigleyville, first of all, Wrigleyville, the uniforms, when they did the first time around, I think they had two different versions, right? Or they did one trial run, and then they did what they should have been doing the first time around.
Are you talking about what Nike did with the City Connect uniforms?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember if they had like one what like different designs they had. I know they had. I only remember like for on-field jerseys, just the blue with the Wrigleyville and the sort of like Wrigley Field sign marquee fonts. I only remember that. I do also remember the alternates Cubs logo that they had, the white sleeve, the bright Chicago star, which I think is also pretty cool. A lot of people have had differing options about what they think of them. Some people really don't like them. Other people think it's cool. I think they kind of look cool.
I thought, if I remember, they had them in kind of like a pinstripe type one, and it looked pretty ugly. But then I think when they got rid of the pinstripes, I could be wrong, but I remember the first time around, I was like, ooh, those look pretty ugly. But then they finally just got rid of them. And I have one more question. Like, Wrigleyville, and I'm biased too. The South Side uniforms, they're pretty sick. I can't
They're
lie
cool.
on
They
that
are
one.
really cool.
I have a Tim Anderson Southside jersey. I was about to go put it on just for this interview, but this chair is more comfortable. But um, is Wrigleyville even a neighborhood, or is it just the surrounding area off of Wrigley Field?
That is a good question. I it can for a Cubs fan, it could really go both ways. It is the area, the surrounding area around Wrigley Field. It is also part neighborhood, but it's also in with a couple of other neighborhoods too. One of them being Lakeview,
Mm-hmm.
and also it kind of merged into I know it's not called the same more, so I apologize, but Boys Town. I'm not sure what the new name is. I know they changed that neighborhood name too. I can't remember at the moment, but so it is really a little bit of both, I think.
I didn't even know Boys Town got a new name. My uncle lived in Boys Town. He just moved out. But but I didn't even know that. I knew he was blocks away from Wrigley, even though it was still a decent walk just because the traffic is so insane in that area. But yeah, I do like the MLB doing City Connect uniforms as long as you make them cool.
Yeah, as long as they they Nike did a lot of great designs. I also another uniform that I like is the Red Sox's City Connect uniform. It's more based on the Boston Marathon, the yellow and blue. By
Mm-hmm.
fully get with everything that's happened with back in 2013 with what happened with the Boston Marathon that year and everything. So I definitely really connect with the Boston Strong movement and everything.
I agree on that one without question.
Yeah. Um, Something else out of the Field of Dreams game. This is, also out of left field, no pun intended. Um, Celebrity chef Guy Fieri, exclusively for the Field of Dreams game, made a hot dog encrusted in an apple pie. And this was also in a partnership with Chevy. And it was, like given out for those were like given out for free at the game. Would you eat something like that?
Okay. I don't think so. I don't think hot dogs and even dessert go together. I just don't. And I have one more and I have a question. You grew up around Chicago, in Chicago. I have heard this for so long, but I've always had questions. I hear a lot of people say it's don't put ketchup on a hot dog.
Ooh.
But I hear it mainly from people who live in Chicago. I'm like, okay, is that a Chicago style hot dog? Which I would agree with because that just looks horrifyingly gross to begin with. Or is it just not putting ketchup on a hot dog, period? Because I've always never cared. Like if a Chicago hot dog exists, then you can put whatever you want on a hot dog.
Right. Really for the idea of putting ketchup on a hot dog, I mean, it is rather frowned upon in Chicago, but for the Chicago style hot dog, as absolutely no ketchup. And actually the reason I don't know why, people say that don't do it. I used to, but I'm like, let's try it, not putting it on. Let's try, Chicago style mustard relish and everything. And it is, a lot better in my opinion. But it's it's a Chicago thing. It's really kind of tough to explain. But as for that, for the hot dog that Guy Fieri made, no way in hell I would eat that. That's like he always talks about Flavortown. That's like dark side of Flavortown. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like in the Lion King, like everything light touches my kingdom, but there's that shadowy place you must not go. What Guy
Right.
Fieri made is in that shadowy place.
I would agree that admire the idea, but I would not eat that. no shot.
Yeah. All respect to Guy Fieri, but come on, man.